Hey everybody, it's Holly. Welcome to the maybe final, I'm actually thinking of checking out an actual check sheet for the student hat. We'll see if we missed any policies or bulletins, and if we did, we'll go over them. But this is part 10 of the student hat reaction series. Hopefully it's the final video, but even if there's one or two extras with a few extra bulletins and policies, I'm okay with that. Let's cover the policy letter of the 16th of April, AD 15. AD stands for After Dianetics. They create their own year counter. Tell me that's not culty. The hidden data line. Some students have believed there was a hidden data line of tech in Scientology, a line on which Scientology tech was given out by me but not made known to students. This started me looking, for there is no such line. I wondered if it was a missed withhold of nothing. There can be one of these, you know. There's nothing there, yet the auditor tries to get it and the PC ARC breaks. Affinity Reality Communication. This is cleaning a clean with an e-meter. One PC I cleaned up very nicely had been harassed for years about an incident that happened when she was 5. A lot of people had tried to get it. The PC was in a pitiful condition. I found that there was nothing there. No incident at all. The meter read came from a charge on previous auditing. I think probably she must have sneezed or her finger slipped on the cans when first asked about an incident when you were 5. An auditor who sees a read when there's no charge makes a missed withhold of nothing. This is the other side of the ARC break. The gone something, the non-existence of something. No food, no money. These things ARC break people. So it's with a missed withhold of nothing. Take Johannesburg. Some years ago, the field there was upset by 3 rabble-rousers who alleged all manner of wild things about the Scientology org there. They held wild field meetings and all that. Truth was, these 3 people had done a vicious thing and screamed to high heaven when I sought to query them. They made a missed withhold of nothing in the field in that area. There was exactly nothing wrong with Scientology there or us. There was something wrong with those 3 people. They had been stealing from the org. The field kept looking for what was wrong with the org or us. Nothing was. Again, so it's not Scientology's fault, it's your fault. So it couldn't be cleaned up because there was nothing to clean. There were 3 thieves who had run off with org property and defied orders to give it back. How this made something wrong with us is quite a puzzle. They are still cleaning up this ARC break in Johannesburg, for it's not cleanable, not being there to be cleaned, unless you realize there was nothing there at all. It's a missed withhold of nothing. The basic organ staff and we at St. Hill were just doing our jobs in ordinary routine. Governments looking for evil in Scientology orgs will go mad, I trust, as they are seeking a non-existent thing. No, they'll find something. They'll find it. They've found plenty now. They are easily defeated because their statements are so crazy, even their own legal systems can't help but see it. Alright, this was before the Guardian's office fiasco, so I think you're a little crazy. So it's easily won. The only person who goes mad on a missed withhold of nothing is the person who thinks there's something there that isn't. So it's with the hidden data line students sometimes feel must exist on courses. There is no line, but in this case there's an apparency of a line. When instructors or seniors give out alter-is technology or unusual solutions, the student feels that they must have some inside track, some data line the student doesn't have. The student looks for it and starts alter-ising in his turn, pretending to have it when they become instructors. It's a missed withhold of nothing. The whole of technology is released in HCO bulletins and HCO policy letters and tapes I do and release. I don't tell people anything in some private way, not even instructors. For instance, all the instructors I taught to handle R6 we taught by my lecturing or writing bulletins for them. Every one of these tapes is used to teach goals, problem, mass data, and handling to students on the St. Hill course. Any new data I've given on it has been given to all these people. The instructor then knows only to the degree that he has studied and used the very same HCOBs and HCO policy letters and tapes the student's now using. There is no hidden data line. To believe there is makes an ARC break. The apparency is somebody's pretense to know from me more than is on the tapes and in books and mimeos, or brutally somebody's alter-is of materials. This looks like a hidden data line, but it surely isn't. All the lower level materials are in the HCOBs, policy letters, or on tapes. All the GPM materials released are here, waiting for the student when he reaches that level. One could say there was one if one was way off the main data line, but it sure isn't hidden. It's on courses and in orgs. I laughed one time at the top flight U.S. government White House entrusted psychologist. You just laugh at all psychology. He looked over some startling IQ changes. IQ is not a reliable system. It's been found to be bull. Said such a thing would revolutionize psychology overnight if known and added, no wonder you keep your technology secret. I doubt that White House entrusted psychologists were looking at Dianetics and saying anything positive. That's very funny when you look at how hard you and I work to make it known to all. The data line isn't hidden. It's there for anyone to have. There's lots of it is possibly a source of trouble in releasing it, but it's all on courses in academies or St. Hill. You could have a copy of everything in the tape library if you wanted. It might cost a lot, but you could have it. Saying no wonder you keep your technology secret. Hubbard just throws out all these exaggerations that make them seem so great that even psychologists are saying it would revolutionize psychology. No, it fucking wouldn't. There is no hidden data line. There's a lot of data I haven't had time to write down and put on a line for sheer press of time, but I work hard to do it. But even my closest staff and communicators, when it hears of a new process or plan from me verbally, sees it in a bulletin or policy letter a few days later. Don't, for heaven's sake, mistake alter is by somebody as evidence of a hidden data line. In Scientology, we say if it isn't written, it isn't true. You could say if it is written, it might not also be true. That applies to orders. Somebody who says, Ron said to blank, and on a veteran staff you hear the rejoinder, let's see it. I've had raw meat, new people, walk into an org and say, Ron said I was to have 25 hours of auditing, and in the raw meat days of orgs, they sometimes were given it. So we've learned the hard way. If it isn't written, it wasn't said. And that applies to anybody's orders, not just mine. And on tech and policy, it's equally true. If it isn't in an HCOB or an HCO policy letter or recorded on tape in my voice, it isn't tech or policy. Next time you hear a pretended order or a squirrel process attributed to me, say, if it isn't written or recorded, it isn't true. And watch how tech results soar then in that area. And they could have a problem. So say you have a process attributed to him or an order attributed to him. It's been written, but it's not true. So there's a problem with that statement there. All right, let's continue. Out Tech, this is the HCO policy letter of the 22nd of November, 1967, revised and reissued 18th of July, 1970. This goes to all students in all courses. If at any time a supervisor or other person in an org gives you interpretations of bulletins, policy letters, or tells you, that's old, read it but disregard it, that's just background data, or gives you a chit for following HCOBs or tapes, or alters tech on you, or personally cancels bulletins or policy letters without being able to show you a B or PL that cancels it, you must report the matter complete with names and any witnesses on direct lines to the International Ethics Officer at Worldwide. If this is not immediately handled, report it in the same way to your nearest Sea Org MAA. By the way, I know I already read these, most likely. I think I already read these, actually. In like an earlier video in this series, but I'm going to go over them again, just to finish them up. The only ways you can fail to get results on a PC are not study your Bs and my books and tapes, not apply what you've studied, follow advice contrary to what you find on HCOBs and tapes, fail to obtain the HCOBs, books, and tapes needed. There is no hidden data line. We just read that. All of Dianetics and Scientology works. No, it doesn't. Some of it works faster. The only real error auditors made over the years was to fail to stop a process the moment they saw a floating needle. Again, process-centric, and the meter's more important than the person. Recently, the felony has been compounded by disclosure of the facts that data and tapes have been deleted from check sheets, data has been relegated to the background, and grades have not been in use fully to complete end phenomena as per the process column on the classification and gradation chart. That's the bridge. This caused an almost complete unmock of the subject and its use. I'm counting on you to see it's not allowed to happen ever again. Any supervisor or executive who interprets, alters, or cancels tech is liable to the assignment of a condition of enemy. All the data is in HCOBs or policy letters or on tape. Failure to make this memo known to every student carries a $10 fine for every student from which it's withheld. How to Defeat Verbal Tech, the HCO Bulletin of the 9th of February 1979, also issued as the Policy Letter of the 9th of February 79, Issue 2, same title. If it isn't written, it isn't true. We've already said, well, that's a lie. If it's written, read it. Okay, you got a squirrel process. It's written, you read it. Can't understand it, clarify it. So now the problem is you have to clarify the process. Even if it doesn't work, even if it's fake, you can have something that's wrong, like Scientology, and they tell you, if you don't understand it, clear up your misunderstood words. You may clear up those words. Doesn't mean this is still going to make sense. If you can't clarify it, clear the misuse. If the misuse won't clear, query it. Get it validated as a written order. Force others to read it. If it can't be run through as above, it's false. Again, quick little thing. All right, we're on one of the final things. Verbal tech penalties, HCO bulletin of the 15th of February 1979, also issued as a policy letter of the 15th of February 79, same title. Referencing how to defeat verbal tech. Any person found to be using verbal tech shall be subject to a court of ethics. The charges are giving out data which is contrary to HCOBs or PLs, or obstructing their use or application, corrupting their intent, altering their content in any way, interpreting them verbally or otherwise for another, or pretending to quote them without showing the actual issue. You can get in trouble for telling people stuff, for explaining something in a course to them. Way too authoritarian. Any one of these categories constitutes verbal tech and is actionable per the above. All right, let's take a look at this. Definitions for student hat. Goals, problem, mass. Here we go. If you took two fire hoses and pointed them at each other, their streams would not reach each other's nozzles, but would splatter against one another in midair. If the splatter were to hang there, it'd be a ball of messed up water. Call Jose the force the PC has to use to execute his goal. Call hose B the force other dynamics have used to oppose that goal. Where these two forces have perpetually met, a mental mass is created. This is the picture of any problem. Force opposing force with resultant mass. Where the PC's goal meets constant opposition, you have in the reactive mind the resultant mass caused by the two forces. Goal equals force of getting it done. Opposition is force opposing it getting done. This is the goal problem mass. The problem created by two or more opposing ideas which being opposed, balanced, and unresolved make a mass. It's a mental energy mass. End word. An end word is the final word of a goal. It's always a noun or a condition made into a noun. For example, with a goal such as to grab books, books is the end word. Each end word, however, has many verb or action words related to it, thus making up a series of goals. End words are called end words because they come on the end of each of a series of goals. Line plot. In finding these goals, a record of these conflicting goals was made. The resulting record is called the line plot. Example: books, no books. To grab books, to not grab books. To read books, to not read books. To sell books, to not sell books. To lay down books, to not lay down books, etc. So it's just actions. Conflicting goals. I don't see the point of that, but now that we're done with the student hat, minus the lectures, we're going to look at that check sheet. So this is the check sheet for the student hat. As we know already, a check sheet is a list of bulletins, policies, lectures, and things to do, whether those are clay demos, using a demo kit, or those little paper clips and the caps and batteries and all that crap. But it's a list of things to do while you're on a Scientology course. So we're actually going to look at one from an independent Scientology website, and I'll put the link for that in the description below. So this is the check sheet of the 13th of March 2010, and it defines the word hat for us. On a train, a locomotive engineer and a conductor each wears a different kind of hat. You will notice that various jobs in the society are designated by different hats. From this we get the word hat as a slang term meaning one's specialized duties. Comes with the name, org that you're at, your post or occupation, the date you started, and the date you completed. There are no prerequisites, but Method 1 word clearing is recommended, and it comes with the student hat course pack and the study tapes. As we know, the study tapes are those lectures that I skipped over. Again, if you guys want me to listen to those, and if you guys want to check them out too, let me know. I'll do a video about those. The length of the course is expected to be 3 weeks full-time, 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. So can you imagine having a job and then also going here 8 hours a day, 5 days a week for coursework? Product. The end product of this course is an able student who knows how to study. He is a student who has the know-how and tools to be able to study and apply the materials of any course and will do so. Sequence. The check sheet is studied once through in the sequence listed on the check sheet. Certificate. Upon successful completion of this course, the student may be awarded the Certificate of Hubbard Graduate of Study Technology. R factor. You're expected to apply the study technology as you learn it to your immediate studies. You're expected to demonstrate your ability to apply the course materials by using the study tech on the course itself. You must see for yourself whether this data is true or not through direct application. A datum is true because it works and because you've seen that it's true, not just because someone says it's true. The value of your future studies is dependent upon how well you do this course. A good practical grasp of these materials will ensure you success in all future study. Whenever a theory item on a check sheet is marked with a star, it means the item is to be a star rate checked out. A star rate checkout is defined as a very exact checkout which verifies the full and minute knowledge of the student of a portion of study materials and tests his full understanding of the data and ability to apply it. That's from the policy letter called Study Definitions. A checkout is done either by another student or on selected issues by the supervisor himself. Important note, and this important note is everywhere in Scientology. In doing this course, be very certain you never go past a word you don't fully understand. The only reason a person gives up a study or becomes confused or unable to learn is because he or she has gone past a word that was not understood. The confusion or inability to grasp or learn comes after a word that the person did not have defined and understood. Have you ever had the experience of coming to the end of a page and realizing you didn't know what you'd read? Well, somewhere earlier on that page you went past a word that you had no definition for or an incorrect definition for. Here's an example. It was found that when the crepuscule arrived, the children were quieter, and when it was not present, they were much livelier. You see what happens. You think you don't understand the whole idea, but the inability to understand came entirely from the one word you could not define, crepuscule, which means twilight or darkness. It may not only be the new and unusual words that you will have to look up. Some commonly used words can often be misdefined and so cause confusion. This datum about not going past an undefined word is the most important fact in the whole subject of study. Every subject you have taken up and abandoned had its words which you failed to get defined. It's is key to life course, dude. That's not proper grammar. That's not the right version of it's. That's had it is words, not no. It's is ITS, not IT apostrophe S. Therefore, in studying the materials of your course, be very, very certain you never go past a word that you do not fully understand. If the material becomes confusing or you can't seem to grasp it, there will be a word just earlier that you've not understood. Don't go any further, but go back to before you got into trouble. Find the misunderstood word and get it defined. If you run into trouble, get help from the supervisor. Alright, so this is Section 1, Orientation and Basics. You got study definitions, confronting addition, the use of demonstration. Now, we are going to go over the study series, by the way. I'll make that a separate video. And we have our first essay. Write an essay, a short written exercise on the following. Choose some activity or subject with which you are familiar. Give an example of a circumstance you might encounter in it, in which use of a demo kit might help you. Now do the same thing, showing how sketches might help you work something out. Turn your write-up into the supervisor. Demo to the supervisor. Using a demo kit, show what the basic purpose of a demo kit is and how it helps a person to study something. Sketch. Draw a sketch which you could use to explain to someone how to get from the course room to where you live. Turn your sketch into the supervisor. I still think this activity seems completely pointless. You know how sketches work. They're drawings. That's it. I don't know why you need to tell someone how to do a sketch properly. So we got barriers to study, the misunderstood word defined. We went over those. So now there's a practical. Give an example of each of the following to the supervisor. A false definition, invented definition, incorrect definition, incomplete definition, unsuitable definition, a homonymic definition, substitute definition, omitted definition, no definition, and a rejected definition. Second essay. Write up 5 different examples of how a word could be misunderstood or not understood. Turn your essay into the supervisor. Dictionaries. Practical. Pick an encyclopedia or other reference book from the course room. Look through it until you find a word you do not fully understand. Look it up in at least 4 of the 8 recommended dictionaries listed in the HCO bulletin. If you find yourself running into too many words in the definitions which you don't understand, clear them up in a simpler dictionary. Based on this exercise, determine which dictionary is the correct gradient for you and suits your needs best. When done, write up what you did and turn your write-up into the supervisor. Then read dinky dictionaries, how to use a dictionary, and a new practical. Do the following steps to familiarize yourself with using a dictionary. Take a dictionary you selected in the previous practical exercise. Use the guide words at the top of the page to help you find the word sail. Look up the pronunciation of the word. Notice what part of speech is given for the first definition. Read the first definition and any examples given for it. Read over the rest of the definitions and note if any of them are specialized or slang. Read the derivation. Read any idioms, synonyms, or notes on usage given. Repeat the above steps for the words dream, fight, would, and graduate. Then you've got clearing words and superliteracy and the cleared word, followed by another practical. Read ahead in your course pack and find a word you don't know the meaning of. Clear it exactly per the bulletin clearing words. Compare your understanding of the word now to when you first found the word in your course pack. Repeat the above, but this time find a word in your course pack which you're not totally certain that you understand. Clear it exactly as per clearing words. Then compare your comprehension of the word now to when you first found the word in your course pack. Now find a word in your course pack you know in the context it's being used, but for which there are other definitions you don't know. Clear it per clearing words. Compare your understanding of the word now to when you first found it in your course pack. Write up what you've learned from this practical exercise and turn your write-up into the supervisor. And you've got grammar, simple words, setting up and using a reel-to-reel tape player. Nowadays it's a CD player, not even a tape player. In our third essay, I think, explain what you do if you hear a word you don't fully understand while listening to a taped lecture. Turn your write-up into the supervisor. Students been meter checked for misunderstoods on this section and has been found to be clean. Word clearing, section 2. I don't know how many sections there are in this thing. I haven't looked at it yet. The different types of word clearing. Method 3 word clearing. Method 9 word clearing the right way. And another practical. Twin up with another student and method 9 word clear each other on barriers to study. Do this one paragraph or section at a time on a turnabout basis until the entire bulletin is covered. Turn in your worksheets to the supervisor. Then read Introduction and Examination, Raising the Standard of, and a sketch. The first phenomenon and second phenomenon of a misunderstood. Words and misunderstood goofs. Demo what happens when one passes over a word he doesn't understand. Now show what happens the moment he spots the word that wasn't grasped. Finally, show what happens when a person uses a synonym for a word he doesn't understand and the correct handling for this. Read confused ideas, and then demo. Whenever a person has a confused idea of something or believes there's some conflict of ideas, it's always true that a misunderstood word exists at the bottom of that confusion. So now you have to demo this concept. So you read alterations, and then go into another practical. Learn the following law verbatim. At the bottom of all alteration of meaning or action is a misunderstood word. When you can correctly recite this without any hesitation to a coach, you pass. This is just getting you to memorize shit, so it's implanted in your brain as a Scientologist. The secret of fast courses, and again, meter check. So we got clay table training, clay table work in training, a clay demo to demonstrate a pencil, a clay demo to demonstrate a body, a thetan in the mind, a clay demo for each of the physiological manifestations which stem from an absence of mass from barriers to study, a clay demo of each of the physiological manifestations which stem from too steep a gradient from barriers to study, a clay demo, each of the physiological manifestations which stem from a misunderstood word from barriers to study, and then meter check. Star rate, like the amount of demos here is absolutely insane. It's going to take up so much time. You're doing most of your time with demos. It seems more than dictionaries now. Star rate checkouts. They're to be done only by the supervisor. How to do theory checkouts and examinations. We look at clearing words and write an essay which covers A, an example of a specific rule, axiom, maxim, or stable datum, an example of a doingness detail given in the bulletin, an example of a section of the bulletin which gives the theory of clearing words. Turn your write-up into the supervisor. Practical. Review barriers to study and write down 3 examples of ways you could apply the following datum in a checkout. Give the student a situation and have him tell you how he'd handle it. Repeat this with how to use a dictionary. Add your write-up why this is vital in doing checkouts. Turn your write-up into the supervisor. You're not learning to... That's the thing with this. You're not learning as to why it's actually vital. You're just basically parroting back what Hubbard says, whether you think it's vital or not. So we got another bulletin, instruction and examination, raising the standard of. I swear to God, we already read this. Did we? Did we already read this? Yeah, we did. Why are you having them read it twice? That's a waste of time. So you got theory checkout data, demo the system used in checking out technical materials on students or staff, demo how you'd shatter the glibness of the bright student who yet cannot apply what he's studied. Then you read supervisor checkouts, star rate outpoints, on giving checkouts, and clay table demo checkouts, and then meter check. Section 5, twinning and coaching. Practical, get twinned up with another student for this practical. Have your twin give you a star rate checkout on the bulletin coaching. Give your twin a checkout on coaching. You want to teach somebody how to do something you know how to do. Describe specifically how you'd apply each of the 4 points listed in coaching to accomplish that objective. Turn your write-up in, and then meter check. Study tapes, the thing I completely skipped over. So you're going to listen to studying introduction, demo how willingness relates to study, write down 5 examples of a fixed idea or fixed opinion. Now you're going to demo the relationship between a fixed idea and understanding on a subject, how fixed ideas affect the ability to have an opinion and exert judgment in a subject. Demo the first barrier to crack on the subject of learning. Then you're going to listen to tape studying data assimilation. You're going to demo what a careful student does when he's reading down this paragraph and all of a sudden he wakes up to the fact he hasn't the foggiest clue what the devil he's reading about. Demo by showing why a person's failure to understand the nomenclature of a subject can lead him to feel he can't learn the subject or that it's incomprehensible. Demo why it is that one unknown piece of nomenclature left behind you can absolutely ruin your comprehension of the whole thing. Essay, you're studying a book. You encounter something which seems unbelievable to you. Explain what you should check first. Why is that the first thing you would check? If that did not resolve it, explain what you'd do next. Why? Turn your write-up into the supervisor. Listen to a summary of study. Oh, that's dates. I didn't even realize that. That's the date. The August 1964. Give an example from your own experience or observation where a student was given too much significance and too little doingness and too little mass on the thing he was trying to learn. Then give an example where a student was given all the mass and doingness and no significance on the thing he was trying to learn. Explain what an optimum educational system would be in terms of the mass and significance given to students. You already tell them what it is. It's in your bulletins and policy letters. They have no choice but to tell them what you say. Give a specific example of how that would work. Demo what education should be and what it should result in for the person being educated. Then listen to gradients and nomenclature. Demo a gradient and then demo a gradient that's been overlooked or skipped or missed. You're going to do an essay on reading a bulletin and find yourself getting very confused in the 3rd paragraph and can't make any sense out of it. What should you do to handle this and why? Turn your write-up into the supervisor. Fucking misunderstood word. It's not hard. There's a demo why attempting to with what a student is very confused about and unable to move forward into must be the wrong point of address and what the correct point of address should be. Why attempting to with? Whoever wrote this up didn't check it very well. Then you demo how you locate the precise area in a person's studies where his troubles lie. Then we got evaluation of information. Demo, show why if you are not observing something directly, then your understanding has to be superior to the understanding which would point of address and what the correct point of address should be. Which would point of address. Half of this doesn't seem grammatically correct. Practical, pick an object, not and object, in the course room and look up and read the definition of the same object in a large dictionary. Note down on a sheet of paper what you learned from reading this. I learned the definition of the word. Big fucking whoop. Now acquire knowledge about the same object by direct observation of it. Note down on the same sheet what you learned from observing it directly. Compare what you learned from direct observation with what you learned from reading others' observations and experience in the dictionary. Turn your write-up in. New essay. Oh God, I hate this already. Write an essay on the truth of the datum that the day that marks a person's death is the day that he sits back and decides he knows everything there is to know about everything there is around him, and so there's no reason for him to observe anything anymore. How is this datum true for you? How can you apply this datum in life? How can you apply this datum in studying Scientology? This has nothing to do with study. What the fuck? Knowing that the day it marks a person's death is the day that he sits back and decides he knows everything. No, Hubbard, people don't, even if they knew the day of their death, they're not going to think that they know everything there is to know. Where is the logic in this? How do you get from this point day that marks a person's death is the day he sits back and decides he knows everything there is to know about everything there is around him. So on the day a person dies is the day that they sit back and decide they know everything. Who said this was true? There's no logical leap here. There's no logical process in this thought. It just seems like random shit. Demo why in studying something you must evaluate what you want that data for and how you'll be using it. And then we got study and education. We're only on page 10. Okay, show why the subject for which the purpose is not delineated will die away in the society and in the individual. Give 5 examples of a live study and 5 examples of a dead study. Then write down what would be the consequence of a person who is being taught a certain subject who is not also being taught the purpose of the subject. Demo why the number of opportunities for a person to fail at something is directly proportional to the length of time that it's going to take to get the person up to the point where he's going to study the subject or activity. They go into so many points that don't seem to relate to this course. They're just throwing random shit in there just to fill it up. Learn the following verbatim. The restoration of doingness depends only upon the restoration of the misunderstood word, the misunderstood definitions. Again, memorize shit in your head because that's what Hubbard said to do. And now, whenever someone asks you a question about something, you parrot this back to them. It's just brainwashing. A review of study. Essay. Write down 3 examples you've seen that show why the continuation of a culture is entirely dependent on possessing a technology of study. Turn your write-up into the supervisor. Practical. Learn another thing verbatim. Your first lesson in learning something about study is to just learn how to observe. Just learn how to look at something. Recite, blah, blah, blah. Practical. Choose something in the course room that you want to learn something about. Go and observe it for several minutes, then feel it, listen to it, read something in a book about it, and see what it relates to. Repeat this for 2 other items. When finished, write up what you did and what you learned. Include in your write-up how to apply this to a subject you are interested in some other area of your life. And we got study and intention. Another essay. How you can identify a suppressive rendition of a subject. Include what factors and manifestations would be present and what you should do if you run into one. Give an example what you have observed. What made suppressive? Practical. A. Choose a subject which you have a purpose and intention to learn more about, which has some basic information on it in an encyclopedia available to you. Briefly study some of the data of this subject and study it for application. B. Then choose a subject in that same encyclopedia which you have no real purpose or intention to learn. Study some of the data of this subject as though you were going to be examined on it. Spend the same amount of time studying it as you did the first. Write up what differences you noticed between studying both subjects and note down your own observations as to speed of learning, level of comprehension, and ability to apply the data you studied. Then listen to training duplication. Another essay. Explain the relationship between duplication and understanding. Which comes first, duplication or understanding? Give an example in life that shows this. How can you use this principle in study? Demo. How an ability to duplicate leads to the ability to comprehend, to understand, and therefore get the ability to observe, and how this is a road to judgment. Demo. An example of how routine and rote are a poor substitution for understanding. Meter check. So then we got section 7, Scientology courses. So you listen to what is a course. Practical. Compare the course room you're in against what is a course. Write up the points you find which conform to the policy. Write up any points you find which don't conform to the policy. Courses, their ideal scene. Essay. Your responsibility for the standardness of any course room you study in. Turn your write-up into the supervisor. Practical. Compare the course room you're in against courses, their ideal scene. If you observe any of the out ethics activities mentioned in the policy letter, determine if they're being handled immediately by asking the supervisor. Then write up what you did on this exercise and turn it in. We got check sheet and pink sheets. You're going to demo the purpose of a pink sheet and how to coach another student on a pink sheet. Important study data, study slowness, and fast flow training, meter check. Section 8, Student Regulations and Ethics. So you're going to listen to the Student's Guide to Acceptable Behavior, choose any 5 points of the Student's Guide, and give an example how each contributes to helping students learn the material of their courses. Explain what can happen if each point is not observed. Then we got Ethics and Study Tech, demo why violations of study tech are an ethics matter. And then talk to the supervisor. And KSW. The following policy letter is one of the most important in all Scientology. Ordinarily, it's the first item studied on any check sheet. It's placed at this point in the student hat so the student will have the benefit of knowing study tech before he studies it. Well, at that point, when they're this far in, they might as well be a Scientologist. So if they threw this at the very beginning, you might just leave. But if they threw this near the end, you're going to be so invested up to this point that you're just going to keep going. KSW, write an essay, each of the 10 points of KSW. In each demo, show an example of what you would do to keep that point of keeping Scientology working in force. We've got the 10 points. I'm not reading them. Safeguarding tech, out tech, technical degrades, the 10 technical degrades listed in the above policy letter and what should be done about them. Then you got the hidden data line. Demo a hidden data line. The action you should take to ensure that one does not develop in your area. Then read How to Defeat Verbal Tech Checklist. Practical. Find out if another student assigned by the supervisor has received verbal data about Dianetics or Scientology. If he has, use the How to Defeat Verbal Tech Checklist to handle it. Write up what you did and the results and turn your write-up in. If you've received any verbal data on Dianetics or Scientology, handle it using the How to Defeat Verbal Tech Checklist. Write up what you did and turn your results in. Meter check. Alright, Section 10. Final drill and practical. Practical A. Review your new student hack course pack and the transcripts of the study tapes and make a list on a sheet of paper of every study tech, tool, and remedy mentioned, such as the first obstacle to overcome in study, the barriers to study, gradients, first phenomenon of a misunderstood word, clay demos, sketching, etc. You should have at least 25 items on this list by the time you've reviewed your pack and transcripts. Using the list of study tech tools you compiled above, write down the tools or remedies you would apply in each of the following situations and the specific actions you'd take in applying them. You're reading a book at home and find yourself doping off. You're studying on course and the material you're reading gets confusing. You're sitting at your desk trying to work out a new design for something. Your younger brother tells you he hates school. You're trying to clear a word in a dictionary, but after reading the definition that fits the context of the word, you still don't understand it fully. You're doing Method 9, and the person you're word clearing is reading the material and being very stiff and robotic. You're trying to learn how to use a big complex piece of machinery. You're listening to a tape, and you hear something which you find unbelievable. Holy shit, something actually that should be there. Yes, if you find something unbelievable, yes, tell them. Don't just say it's because of a misunderstood word. If it's unbelievable, it's literally unbelievable. It could be bullshit. Doesn't matter how much you clear something up. Doesn't mean it's going to make sense. You're taking a course only because it was required for graduation from the school you're attending. You're trying to repair your motorcycle, and when reading the repair manual, you come across some terms that are not defined in the manual or in a dictionary. You're trying to learn how to use a sewing machine. Halfway through reading the manual, you get a headache. A fellow student started a course in the academy a few weeks ago but tells you he now wants to quit. You're trying to learn a foreign language but just can't get it. You're doing Method 9 word clearing on somebody and he gets upset. You're reading an HCOB and your eyes start to hurt. You have a new auditor who keeps making errors on a certain procedure. Your friend is taking a course in typing but says she already knows how to type. You're trying to learn how to use your new e-meter, but there's something in the owner's manual which makes no sense to you. You're getting into a lot of word chains with the dictionary you're using. You're trying to learn how to do a new auditing technique but are very confused. When done, turn your write-ups in. And here is the student course completion. Student completion. I have completed the requirements of the check sheet and I know and can apply this material studied. I have trained the student to the best of my ability, and he or she has completed the requirements of this check sheet and knows and completely applies study tech. The student examiner. Student has passed 100% on a written examination of the materials of the new student hat. Student attest at certificates and awards. I attest that I've studied and understood all the materials of this check sheet. I've done all the drills on the check sheet. I produce the results required in the materials of the course, and I can apply these materials to self and others to improve study duplication. Technology. The student is awarded the certificate of Hubbard Graduate of Study Technology. Route this check sheet to the course admin for filing in the student's folder. Alright, I want to figure something out. So we have essay. 21 essays. Wait, not necessarily. So we got 1 essay, 2 essays, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 essays. Now we have demo. Alright, so let's start at the very top here. So we had 19 essays. 1, 2, wait. Oh shit. Hang on. We have 1 demo. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, oh, wait, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59. What? So 59 demos. All right. So you got 59 demos, 19 essays. Now let's take a look at practicals. All right. You got 10 there. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27 practicals. Holy shit. I can't imagine. And you expected to get this done in 3 weeks. Full time. Now you understand how crazy just a basic course is. The student hat is a beginner course. It's not any of the fancy shit up ahead that we're going to find out about. It's just... it's madness. It's complete madness. 19 essays. So what did I say? 49 demos? And I forgot how many practicals. If your school had you do this, you'd be fucking crazy by the end of it. I don't know how anyone would actually why anyone would want to complete this. Okay. Anyway, this is over. We're finally done with the Student Hat series. I'll look at the lectures if you guys want me to. Just comment about it. We got through it. I'm happy with that. I'm happy that I don't have to read anything more about dictionaries, word clearing, anything like that until we get to at least the study series and the word clearing series. I'm not going to those next. I need a fucking break from this shit. I have no idea what I'm going to do next. But thank you all for watching. I hope you liked what you saw. If you did, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike. Comment with your feedback or questions, good, bad, or sideways. And subscribe to be kept up to date on future content that I upload. I will talk to all of you later. See ya.